in preparing for Euler's line, I thought that I would give you some pointers in the construction. If you go to display, you can change the line color and you can change the line style as being thick or thin, and you can change the point style. So that's going to be helpful when I ask you to change the colors of the different lines that you make to find the points of concurrency. So for example, if you are trying to find the altitude, you highlight the segment and the vertex opposite, and then you go to construct a perpendicular line. This is the altitude, and if I want to display that line as red, or if I want to display that line as bold, I go to line style and thick. If I want to find the perpendicular bisector, I first have to have the midpoint of the segment. Now this is an altitude. So I'm going to highlight the segment. I'm going to construct, yikes, I have to unhighlight the altitude and construct the midpoint, and then the midpoint and the segment together will construct the perpendicular bisector. And again, if I want to display that in yellow, and I want to display that as thin, yikes, if you display it as thin, you can't even see that it's yellow. We better go back to medium. I'll make this one medium as well. All right, now, once you have the midpoint, you can get the median by highlighting the midpoint and the vertex opposite and constructing a line or a segment. And I can display that in green. So the altitude, the vertex, and the segment opposite is highlighted. The median and the perpendicular bisector has to have the midpoint first. The perpendicular bisector highlights the segment and the midpoint, that's the yellow line, and the median highlights the midpoint and the vertex opposite. You do that for all three sides. Then the points of concurrency will be in a line. Now, here is the measure tool. If I ask that you measure the length of the segment and I highlight the endpoints of the segment, I can go to distance, but length isn't an option. If I highlight the segment itself, I can go to measure and get the length. And this tells me that segment AB is 9 49/100 centimeters. I want to know the length of this segment. I highlight it. I have to make sure that this is not highlighted. If I leave that highlighted, it does not work. And so now I know the length of this segment. If I want to know this segment, I have to unhighlight and then highlight the segment and then go and measure. Now, if I wanted to get the length of the segment on the yellow from here to here, there isn't a point located here. So I would have to make it a point by highlighting AC and the line. And now that I have it as a point, I need to make, well, let me highlight both endpoints and construct a segment. Once I have a segment made, then I can measure that segment. So D to E. But a segment has to be identified before you can use the measuring tool. And remember, go to A and make a text box, and then you can write here your responses on your sketch.